Well, hello and welcome. My name is Kubeir. I'm a CICC licensed immigration consultant. I want to talk to you about this TEER to PR news that has been floating out. Now, I'm not saying nothing is happening or nothing is coming. What I'm trying to tell you is that there are some consultants who we saw on TikTok who are inviting people to register for the TEER to PR program. I mean, if the TEER to PR program has not even been announced and nobody even knows how it's going to look like, how are people even getting registered for this application type? People are being told, get your PCCs ready, get your IELTS ready, get your ECA ready, get your work experience documents ready, etc., etc., etc. Well, we know that these are the documents that you will need in the most applications anyways, but there is nothing else that needs to be done. But the criteria still nobody knows. But let's talk about this, right? Motion M44 is what was approved in the House of Commons on the 11th of May. This Motion M44, if you are to read, first of all, it is an opinion. And when an opinion is passed as a motion, the government is not obligated to enforce it. They still can consider it, or they can consider parts of it. Now, in this motion M44, the big aspects of it is basically, it's very, very generic. If you were to read this, the motion, it says it is amending eligibility criteria under the economic immigration programs to give more weight to significant in Canada work experience and expand the eligible occupation categories. Okay. So the new TEER system is already doing that. It is already expanding the occupational categories and accepting the work experience at different skill level. I'm not sure how many of you know, but 16 new categories of occupations would now be eligible in Express Entry, which was not earlier eligible. And that's the first thing. Second one, it says, examine evidence and data gathered. I'm sure IRCC is doing a lot of examining and a lot of data gathering and data analysis from the AIPs and RNIPs and PNP programs. So nothing much to be done there. But it says, incorporating this data on the labor market skill shortages to align policy on immigrant selection with persistent labor gaps. Again, for a lot of you who understand or who are aware of Bill C-19, then this third C section of this particular motion is again being incorporated in the Bill C-19, which is a category-based drop, whereby IRCC will have the provision of identifying specific occupations that are in demand and selecting those profiles to invite them for permanent residence. So first three factors taken care of. D, encouraging immigrant retention in smaller communities. Again, Bill C-19. So D is also covered. E, identifying mechanisms for ensuring flexibility in immigration selection tools to react quicker to changes in labor market needs and regional economic priorities. It's a very generic one, but it is only talking about flexibility within the immigration selection tools. And again, it indicates to Bill C-19. So you see, all the first 5 points have already been covered as far as what IRCC is doing. Last one, considering occupation essential sectors that are underrepresented in current economic immigration programs, such as health services, caregivers, agriculture, manufacturing, service industry, trades. The final section of this particular motion is what a lot of people have been looking at and saying that this is skill types C and D within the NOC codes, which needs to get accommodated within the immigration programs. Fair enough, and that's what I agree with that as well. That one as well. But how is IRCC going to do that? In the sense, will they accommodate them within the new TEER system, which they are already doing for a lot of these occupation types, 16 different occupation types? Are they going to introduce new programs? Are they going to bring a TEER to PR? Does motion M44 mean TEER to PR or not? So I have something for you here, which will help you understand this better. And this is directly from the horse's mouth. Take a listen to this.
TEER to PR program, as you refer to it. It doesn't exist anymore. Are you going to relaunch that?
So the TEER to PR program, just so people understand where it's come from, was a response to a very specific change that had to be made during the pandemic when the border was shut down to protect communities against the spread of COVID-19 across Canada. We pivoted our strategy to resettle people who were already in Canada on a temporary basis so we could continue to reliably grow our population and add more permanent residents.
So why not continue it?
Well, it's a good question, actually, because we are looking right now at the best path forward to create a permanent pathway for temporary residents. This is actually one of my mandate letter commitments, and I want to give a particular thank you to my friend and colleague, Randeep Sarai, the member of parliament from British Columbia, who's responsible for motion 44, that actually puts me on a clock to come up with a framework to establish this new permanent residency pathway, not just for international students, also for temporary foreign workers. We're in the depths of planning the policy so we can have a policy that's not driven by a need to respond urgently in the face of an emergency, but actually to have a permanent pathway that provides a clearer path for those seeking permanent residency who enter Canada on a temporary basis.
So is that a yes then, that there will be another TR to PR program?
It won't be identical to the same policy that was in place on an emergency basis. There will be a permanent residency pathway for those people that I've described who are here on a temporary status.
There you go. That's from the horse's mouth. Again, very clear, very concise, very, very specific. There is no TR to PR coming back, at least not in the same format what you have been thinking of. That is what happened as a one-time thing, which was in 2021. Now, if you would have heard what Sean Fraser said, there are some things. Obviously, he has mentioned M44, motion 44. He's talking about the framework. He's talking about being on the clock. Now, being on the clock here, the first line of this motion says that they have to publicly release within 120 days following the adoption of this motion a comprehensive plan. Now, that is what he's referring to as being on the clock. 120 days from this adoption of motion basically means 8th of September. And that is where a lot of people are anticipating and expecting some new program to be launched on 8th of September. So there is no new program which will be launched on 8th September. That I can assure you. What probably will happen is Sean Fraser or IRCC coming out and announcing some framework that they are working on to basically launch for a permanent program, not a temporary program, not a one-time program, but a permanent program which will offer a solution for international students and foreign workers to a permanent residency pathway. A bigger situation here is that they are not, rather Sean Fraser or IRCC is not exactly following what M44 says. They are basically following their mandate letter, which was given to them by Justin Trudeau. Mandate letter mentioned that within the express entry, they have to expand and provide additional pathways for international students and foreign workers. So what IRCC has done in combination with several things is they have basically got the approval for Bill C-19, where they can do category-based draws. The new tier system is coming, where tier 3, which otherwise had a possibility of not being eligible, is now going to be eligible in express entry. So they will have additional 16 occupations which were otherwise not eligible, now becoming eligible. And obviously they will expand the pathway within express entry or something outside. I can't say at this point of time, but that is something we have to wait and watch. So this is the background. This is the logical understanding of what is being said in motion M44 and what IRCC is looking to do. You just heard it from horse's mouth. I'm not saying it. Sean Fraser is saying it. That yes, he is on a clock. And that yes, he is preparing, or rather IRCC is preparing a framework for a new permanent program. So permanent program means it's not going to be a one-time thing, which was what happened in 2021. It will be a permanent solution, permanent program. Everybody would know it. You would know it a year in advance, 2 years in advance, 3 years in advance, that there is a permanent solution that if you come to Canada as an international student, as a foreign worker, then you would have prospectively a certain route by which you can then become a permanent resident. Having said all of that, a lot of you should also be aware as to how many people are in Canada who are international students and foreign workers. At the last count, that number exceeds 1 million. Now, if you have 1 million such people who would want to take advantage of a program like this, but then the quotas are not in that, rather will not add up to that, right? For example, this year's immigration levels plan has no room for any additional numbers to be added, so that so where are they going to make the place for a new program? So when you fall into the trap of these TikTok videos, and when you fall into this hype of different people giving you different kind of information and saying, okay, this new program will come, then you register for this and then you will get through this, then also you need to think, you need to take a step back, and before you get carried away with that hype, start thinking, where is the provision for something like this? And even if they do make the provision, they will then have to cut down on, has to be express entry, can't be anywhere else. FHS, federal high skilled, has already been cut down from 110,000 to only 55,000 this year. For the next year also, it has been cut down from 110,000 to 75,000. So they've already made those cuts in the quota this year and next year. If they announce a new program, then again they have to have provision to fit that quota within the programs as well. In this year, October or November, IRCC will then update or announce the new immigration levels plan for 2023, 2024, 2025, and then we will have a much better understanding of where those cuts or quotas will be changed. But at this point of time, just so that you understand, motion M44, the date for that deadline is over on the 8th of September, and that puts Sean Fraser on clock to announce some framework that basically offers a pathway. One thing is for sure, that there will be a pathway. It was not going to be the TR to PR that you are thinking that was introduced last year. But yes, if you want to use the nomenclature and call some program temporary residence to permanent residence, then yes, of course, that would be a TR to PR program, if that's what you want to call it. It will not have the same resemblance. It would have a more stricter criteria, because at the end of the day, I just told you there are nearly 1 million people in Canada at this point of time who are international students and foreign workers who would like to also become permanent residents. So everything has to be put into perspective. And of course, Sean Fraser is also going to comply with his mandate letter, where he has to create more pathways for international students and foreign workers within Express Entry or outside Express Entry. That's what we have to wait and see. So that, my friends, is the story behind motion M44 and the 8th of September and the new TR to PR program, if and not, or whether or not it's going to be coming or not. Is there a TR to PR this September 8th? Well, we discussed this really in detail. Just watch the video from the beginning or somewhere in middle, and you will see all the information we discussed about this. Well, that's all basically I have for today. There are a lot of questions still. If I haven't answered your question and you still have it, then please, by all means, do post it in the comment section after the video, and I'll be happy to come back and take a shot at it. Thank you so much for joining in. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you next time.